Longest review yet.
Am I covered by a cage?
No, you're not.
Primo.
We just actually spend the whole 3 hours talking about our theories of how the moon landing was faked, you know?
That's a good idea, for sure. And then we can talk about the flat Earth and chemtrails and all those.
Elvis still being alive.
Om Shinrikyo, a lot of fun stuff.
I was gonna say, lots of people think that, well, not lots of people, but those conspiracy theorists, people think that shot The Shining helped to directed the moon landing. That's one of the popular.
Wait, what?
There's still Stanley
the
Kubrick.
people who made that?
Yeah, some people that who think that the moon landing was fake. Some people think Stanley Kubrick, because he was this big sci-fi guy and he did 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
That he helped make it look
He
like
was
we
in on
landed.
it.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun.
True story. He told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over text, over dinner.
Yeah. Oh man, this was dangerous. I didn't even check my hair before we sat down.
That's fine.
Yeah, not on this angle.
Why not?
There's some little string here and there. Quickly run in the mirror. There we go.
All good?
Yeah, I like the mirror effect where you can see something up, but I can't I just need that face on now.
Face on.
Golden pony boy. There you go.
Sure.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a GeekVerse review. I'm the first podcaster of Travis now.
I am the Adam Hardcaster, Dylan Does. Today we're talking about First Man. It's going to be an exciting review.
Yep, full-on spoilers review, because if you don't know what happened, I don't know where you've been. Did you not go to school?
Yeah, I mean, big spoiler, but man did land on the moon, and that's the end of the movie. So.
Yeah. Before we get into that, some housekeeping. Whenever you listen to this, check out a bunch of other reviews we have. We have Venom, we got Apostle, we got Bad Times El Royale.
So much.
Yeah, so we got lots of good stuff there. We'll be dropping an impromptu newscast, so by the time you listen to this, the newscast will be up, I imagine so. So that'll be good. We're talking about lots of fun stuff there. You know,
the news just isn't stopping. Well, there's a couple newscasts recently. We had another weekly cast. We're planning on it, but just hey, what are you doing? We have time. Let's do it.
Well, and we gotta get to now because we got so many reviews, and then the 24-hour stream's coming up, and then after that we're gonna take, I think, a week off because gotta
recuperate the brain.
And I have made it so for I think the last week in December and the first week of January we have time off, so we can just have a full 2 weeks of just recharge. You know, let the mouth simmer. You know,
it feels like it's been nonstop.
Oil up the tongue. You know,
oil up.
November 3rd, 24-hour stream, Extra Life. Please come donate. All we need is 20 people donate $50 to hit our goal.
That's not much.
That's a small amount of people when you think about it. We're trying to raise $1,000. One, you get a kick out of it because we'll shave not one, not two, but 3 heads. I was worried about my hair earlier.
That's an upgrade from last year.
In a month, I might not have to worry about my hair. Oh, there goes Nick Cage. He's that excited for the 24 hours. He's not going to be there, but you know, if he might be. If you're out there.
He was filming a movie in Kelowna over the summer, so maybe he had to come back for some reshoots or something.
We'll kidnap him if they want him back. I'll raise $1,000.
Don't say that on camera.
It goes right. It's just a joke. Goes towards BC Children's Hospital, so please help us raise that money. We're going to do lots of stuff, tournaments, spin-off shows, lots of kooky characters.
We're going to play the Wii game Up.
We've just decided the Wii game
Up.
Yeah, and we got title matches where we have a gaming league, so it's going to be a good time, so please check that out. If you cannot donate, please like or share the link on that day. And like I said, even if it's $1, $5, anything helps. It goes towards a good cause, and you helped us surpass our goal last year, so we're hoping we can do the same. Yeah, we've doubled it, but... you know, I hope we can do it.
I think so.
We trust in you, the fans. Just like NASA trusted in Neil Armstrong.
They put a lot of faith in this man.
Yeah, he was the first man. Dylan, what do you think about this movie?
Yeah, this is an interesting movie. I feel like I don't have a whole lot of experience, you know, with biopics. It's not really something I am itching to get to the theater for. This year's a little bit different because I'm definitely going to go see Bohemian Rhapsody as well. But yeah, I like this movie. I think it's a really well made movie, and I was captivated from from start to finish. Even though some parts are a bit slower, and I mean generally the movie is quite. There's a couple more kind of like actiony moments, but overall it's kind of slow.
Slowly paced movie.
Yeah. But I really, I thought it was really well made. All the acting is really on point. Some of the characters, obviously, it's a lot more down to earth, a lot more real. Down to earth. That's an interesting way to describe it.
Look at that.
But as Travis used the word subdued performances, and I think that's a good way to describe it.
Well, I used it in the car, so they don't know that I used it yet. Remember?
I know, but I was just segueing so that I could steal your word, but make it sound like I was giving you
Damn
credit.
it!
I like to give you some credit when I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ryan Gosling as the starring performance, he's always fantastic. There's not a whole lot of emotional scenes for him in this movie, but the ones he does have, he nails perfectly. And then, I mean, it's just like the kind of role, the way this movie was written, it's not meant to be that way. So I feel like exactly what he was supposed to do, it felt like he nailed all that. And then just seeing some other people as well. I've never seen the guy who played Yellow Jacket. What's his name?
Corey Stoll.
Yeah, this is the second movie I've seen him in.
Yeah.
So I thought he was, it was a smaller role, but I thought he was good. And then the guy who was in Winchester, what's his name?
Jason Clarke. Yeah.
Jason Clarke.
He's a great actor.
The first time I've seen this guy was last week when I watched a movie called Winchester.
No, that's a lie.
What have I seen?
Second Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, he plays like the human with Caesar and the family that they're trying to help him out. You might not recognize him, but he's for sure in that movie.
Okay, well, third movie then. Mm-hmm. Winchester was awful, so
yeah.
So I was curious. I was curious how, if that was maybe some acting choices or if it was pure writing. And he's really good in this movie, and he has kind of like a meteor role even, judging based on other characters. So I thought he was good. Cinematography was excellent. There's different there's a lot of kind of perspective shots. Whether it's just him as an astronaut being inside a spacecraft or something, feels really claustrophobic. It feels like there's not a lot of control there, but also just scenes of him, his personal scenes talking with characters, and it's a very tragic story, and I'm not an expert on it by any means. I just know the basics, I guess, but yeah, it really is a sad story. All the friends that he's that were lost in the endeavor for the space race, really. And that's you see. I mean, in this movie, that's kind of all his friends, right? That's all he has time for, aside from his family, are these people he's working with all the time. And to lose so many of them throughout it is, it's a really tragic story, and I feel like they told it. They told it really well. The music as well. Same guy who did the music for La La Land. There's one scene in particular that feels like it could have been ripped the same soundtrack. But I still felt like it was fitting, and it was used sparingly for sure. Yeah. Especially compared to La La Land, but overall, I enjoyed this movie. But it's not one that I would say you need to get out of your seat right now and go to the theater and watch it. I wouldn't say it's one that the minute it hits Netflix, I'll be watching it again. Yeah. I don't know when I'll watch this again. Probably at some point in my life for sure. And it's one I'd recommend to people as it's a good story. I don't know how accurate any of it is, really. Other than, I can confirm that they've landed on the moon. Who am I to say? Oh no. Let's talk about some conspiracy. Mm-hmm. But I think it is a really good story, and I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend people to go see it in theaters. That's the tricky thing.
I think it's tough because I think from as a movie, it is. Are you done with your final thoughts? Or your thoughts there?
I don't know. I mean,
because I don't want to get, because I haven't.
This is a strange review because normally we do a spoiler zone and a non-spoiler zone. This is not the case for this, so I don't know. It's more a stream of consciousness, I guess.
Okay, well then what I would go from that is, as far as recommending it, it's tough because I think it's a good movie, but it's very slow, and it's very slowly paced, and I feel like it's kind of meant to be the way. So when the missions happen or the test happens, those are the most kind of intense action parts. So for me, it's they're in normal life doing their stuff, and then that's when you kind of sit in your chair what's going to happen? And what's going to happen, but they do a good job of framing it. Like Dylan was saying, those scenes feel very claustrophobic. Just stuff they show their knees shaking. The attention to detail in those scenes are great. Yeah. And then the space scenes are great for another reason. So that's what stuff when I go recommending if you like stuff about, like, if you really like biopics, or if you really like the idea of space or NASA, then I'd say for sure. As far as an actual movie, it is a good movie, but it's slower paced where I feel like it is like almost a good couch movie.
Sure.
But at the same time, you would never, I feel, appreciate the technical aspects if you did see this on the big screen. Like, big spoiler, when they land on the moon, that seems great. And we don't even have an IMAX theater. I wish we did, but even in our theater, it's great, it's beautiful, it's breathtaking. It feels like you're just swallowed up because they do a couple shots like that are from his like POV.
Yeah.
So that's where so if you, I think, really value stuff like that, like cinematography, or you like just kind of the visual art of film, then I'd say go and see it. If you just kind of go for a great movie or great characters, you could get that. I'm not saying it's not a great movie, but it's just, I think you could, like I said, if you're not a visual junkie, or if you're like, oh, I'm fine, I don't need to see the moon, then I'd say you could just watch it at home when it comes out, or around award season, or even if you need to, like a cheap Tuesday. Like, I think this movie is, I would recommend it to a very few amount of people that I know.
I mean, the thing is, this movie is pretty much what I was expecting. Like, this is exactly the kind of characters and storytelling I was expecting, really. So I'm like completely satisfied with it, for sure. It fit my expectations.
Yeah. And then for me, I'm not a big biopic guy unless someone is very interesting. And this is where someone's going to get mad at me. I'll get some message like, Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. I get that. I mean in the sense is that they're a character. So in the sense of, like, you look at something like Blow, where Johnny Depp is playing, like, this huge cocaine drug dealer, and he's very kind of, you know, he's over the top, but that was like a real person, right? So it's this kind of 1 in a million, or this very strange, different type of person where it's like, these people are rare, and that's why there's a movie about them. For me, there's a lot of stuff at NASA when they're not doing the actual experiments, when they're just Ryan Gosling, Neil Armstrong, and like Buzz Aldrin and a bunch of other people. It's just, and this might sound like a bad thing against the movie, but this is me prefacing what I thought about the film, so you go maybe, okay, he doesn't like biopics, and if I do that, I might like it more, so you can take this. For me, most of us at work or normal lives, we're boring people. I think when we're podcasting, this is when you see our personalities and that, but if you have a camera on Dylan at his work, you have a camera on me, it's going to be a boring movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is a boring movie, but lots of characters, they're just having regular conversations, like, yeah, we gotta do this, and we gotta do this, and they're not really out there. That's why the only one that I'd say is kind of like a fun type of character is Buzz Aldrin, but he's not really in the movie that much. Like, he's the only one that feels like, you know, he's making these snide remarks, he's saying some stuff that you kind of get like a chuckle out of, but the rest of the people, they're all just good humans. They have like arcs going on, they have stories, but they're just, there's nothing huge about them. They're not larger than life, right? And I don't expect that from this type of movie, but that's why for me with biopics, I'm not usually the biggest fan of, because unless it's someone I'm personally interested in. A big example, Harvey Milk. I love the movie Milk. It was he was the first gay guy to get elected as a senator. Okay. And it's like, he's a very eccentric, out there, like very flamboyant, and was very proud to be gay, and he was a character, and he was very fun to watch, and they made a movie in that, and that's why for me that was fun to watch. Where Neil Armstrong, he's a dude guy, but even just everyone around him, they're just normal dudes and women working at NASA. And for me, that's where I can't really like bite my teeth into it. The stuff that I really like the most is the stuff at home, because they're dealing with a tragedy, him and his wife, and the scenes that he has, and I've never seen Claire Foy act. I know everyone loves her in that show, The Crown, on Netflix. She plays the Queen. Okay. I've never seen that show, but people say good things. She's in that, the girl, which one is this now? The girl who, the girl in the Spider's Web now, she's taken that over. So she's kind of having like a few breakup years, but I've never seen her act. She was great, and all the scenes they had was, you could see Neil Armstrong's, like, as far as like Dylan said, who knows how accurate this is, but in this movie, his, as far as being more of a man that he cares about his job, but he cares about his family, and you kind of slowly see that deteriorate, and he just gets more and more obsessed with the mission, and you see his family home deteriorate as well.
Yeah, there's so much loss, right? He just gets so disconnected.
Oh yeah, and you see that every time as the years go on, and there's time jumps in this movie, but they're not used in a like a Venom Fan 4 stick. Like, they feel warranted, and it does feel like every time Jesus Christ. A time jump happens that you feel that he is more disconnected and locked away from his family, and you feel his wife is even more lost as far as how do I deal with this, and they feel like very unconnected by the end of the movie. Where at the beginning of the movie, they are, you know, they have, at least it seems like, a good relationship. They're not, it's not over and it's not like a La La Land where they're falling over each other, but it seems like they're man and woman.
You're already like, it's already an established marriage, they have children already.
Exactly, but you can see like they have a nice little dancing scene together, things like that. Like, there's little moments where, okay, this is a happy couple that, you know what, everyone has their problems, and that's just kind of this. Where as the movie goes on, that just gets more and more, and you're trying to see how these two deal with each other. And that was my favorite stuff in the movie, honestly, was I liked the technical aspect of the space stuff and the show stuff, but the actual moments I was most engaged with was when those two are on screen together, and just the moments like he has with Jason Clarke's character about when he leaves that funeral and he's trying to, you can see the friend's trying to be a friend to him, but he either doesn't want, like Neil doesn't want that, or he can't really connect with this person. Yeah, and that's what I liked more, is those moments. And Gosling to me does a great job acting, but it's just, there's not too much flash to this character. To me, he does good as acting as he's ever done, but it's just there's only few emotional scenes, but when he gets those, he pulls them off very well. There's one particular at the very beginning of the movie where he breaks down, and it's fantastic. It's very heartbreaking, and I enjoyed it, but for me, it's just, I think the biggest thing is this is a director's movie. It's not about the acting and big performances or even witty dialogue. It's about telling the story A to B, which I think they do a good job of, and then just the scenery and the aspects of, man, this guy, he's won an Oscar for Best Director. Damn, he's a good director. And he does do that. There's scenes that are fantastic in this movie. But for me, it's kind of like, we have a restaurant here around in Kelowna, not in Kelowna, but higher up, it's called Sparkling Hill. I'm a big fan. It's a very expensive place, and, you know, people post photos all the time. You'll have this huge dish, and there'll be like 2 little pieces of chicken. You'll have like a bunch of sauce on there, a little cherry tomato, and a lettuce. And I imagine that you eat that chicken, and it's like, man, it might be the best chicken you've ever tasted. It's flawless. It's cooked to the best way it's possible. But when you eat that all, because it's this huge plate with just this little drop of food, you eat, you go, I'm still a little hungry. And that's, for me, kind of sums up this movie, where it's made perfectly, but it's not one where I'm like Dylan said, when I get the chance to watch it again, I'm not dying to watch this again. I said to Dylan, I don't know if I ever need to watch this again, because I've seen the beautifulness of the shots, but as from a story and a character, I think I've got enough for me to be like, okay. And it's even a movie that, I don't know, it's a movie I would honestly maybe put on to fall asleep to, because it's very calming at times. It's very, Ryan Gosling has a nice smooth voice, but
very smooth.
I've seen it once, and this is the best way I can put it. I think it's a very, very good movie. I enjoyed it, but it would not be in my top 10 for this year, and that's where, and like I said, that might be a slight against it, but I think it's very good, but it's just, and that's what I mean, maybe if you love biopics, that's for you, but for me personally, I'm not in love with it, and I'm not gonna, and like I said, I would recommend it to a few amount of people. It's not one where like A Star is Born, or even like I said, Bad Times, where I'd be like, I can go on and on about these reasons I loved it. With this, I can give you the bullet points, but I'm not gonna fight passionately about it, and be like, you've got to see First Man. So that was my thoughts. Well, what else should we talk about? Do you have anything else to talk about?
I don't know. I think one thing they really did, because the cinematography is definitely, like you mentioned, that's like the standout aspect of this movie. They do a really good job of switching point of view, and then having like more wide out shots.
Well, and you even mentioned like how they shoot his home life.
The home life at the beginning. It really feels like it's like a home video, like there's someone there,
It's very personal.
Like maybe the wife is standing there filming this interaction or something. So I really like that aspect of it, and then just all the shots they had of the spacecraft from like the outside, and then like certain perspective shots. It feels like these are cameras that would be on the spaceship that are flying out.
And even when one of the biggest missions goes a little wrong and he loses some of his friends, that's shot really well, because that is like frightening, that scene, the way it all goes down. That's done very, very well.
I think that certainly was the standout aspect of it for sure. I don't know, I guess a couple other things, like acting wise, I thought there's a really interesting scene where Ryan Gosling or his wife is essentially forcing him to tell his kids that, like,
he might not be back.
Yeah.
And he's trying to avoid it. He's like, they're asleep, and she's like, they're not.
And it's a heartbreaking scene, really, because it just shows his perspective and how, like, the way he's talking to his kids is essentially exactly the same way he answers press conference questions. He just answers like scientifically, like, it's not likely that I'm coming back. Very cold, and the whole time he's doing this thing with his hand where he's just like, it's kind of like a nervous thing. He's kind of rubbing his hand, and he does that the whole time. And that was probably like maybe the standout scene for me. Obviously, at the beginning, there's like a scene with him crying. He does that really well, the quivering and all that. But that was a really interesting scene. I thought they did really well with the like development of that for him, just becoming more and more disconnected throughout.
I'd agree with you. I think that's the best scene because I think it's the most he gets to, like, not the most he gets to act, but it's his biggest scene as far as, like, he's interacting not only with the kids, but I think it's their best scene together with the wife and him, like, going back and forth about how you got to tell them, like, I didn't do this, you made this choice. So I thought, like, I would agree with you all around that was the best scene because everyone's doing really good acting and he has a terrible moment, like, it's a minor spoiler, but, like, one, he has a younger son and he hugs, and then his older son, because I feel like his older son's trying to be his dad, he, like, just goes in for a handshake instead of a hug, and it's like, it's like the last time you're going to see your dad, and it's going to be a handshake, so it's, like, really, it's very awkward, and it's very heartbreaking to see, but it's a great scene.
Yeah, and the other big one, as you mentioned, is the moon landing itself. Obviously, that's the scene you got to get right, if any.
Yeah.
But it was really, I think they use, like, the actual radio comms, like, from, because the voices sound different. I'm guessing they use.
No, I think they just re-recorded it. I really do, because I think
maybe they, like, optimized or something, but it didn't sound like Ryan Gosling.
Really, I thought when he said the one step for man, I thought that sounded like Gosling.
Yeah,
we'll maybe watch it again.
Yeah, maybe it was the effect they had on him or something, but it felt really authentic. Like some of the camera shots, they're likely redone, but it felt like, you know, this was like the camera technology at the time. That's what it would look like. And when he puts his foot down and lifts it up, it's all really slow. And I love that as soon as they open the gate, the door to go outside, like the music just cuts and it's just that pure silence. It's really, really just very beautiful, very well done. And then like the scene of him looking up at Earth and seeing just kind of the crescent of the light that's on it.
And the other thing I shot too is before that they have the scene where they show like the officials putting together like a statement. Like this is before they left Earth, that they're putting together a statement. They're going over the plan of like, okay, we're gonna phone we're gonna get the presidents to phone their wives before we make an official statement. Then we're gonna do this. And so
this is assuming it didn't go well.
Yeah, and that's the other stuff I would show too. That I like that it wasn't like a Lifetime movie like Ray, like the space program. Like they show like some maybe shady stuff, not even shady, but just actions where at one point they're having a conversation with Neil Armstrong and like, well, how far are we willing to go? And like already like 5 guys have died. He's like, isn't it a little too late for that? And I like that it kind of stripped away because like obviously NASA space program, the moon landing gets very glorified, especially but in America it's hailed as like one of these great accomplishments. It is, but it's hailed as almost like it's just it was easy and they did that because it was a space race, right? They were so focused on trying to beat everyone else and that's where now we've got away from it. But when you look at footage back then, like they have that one thing of they're interviewing a French girl and she's like, I knew America could do it. They could never fail at this, you know? It's looked at this such as just this like simple task. Like, of course America would do it.
And I like that they showed that perspective too, like when it gets to like I think it's like 68 something, you see a scene of like essentially like the hippie movement and their view on it, which was something interesting because obviously I have no idea what it was like to be a person when that was happening.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see, really just kind of glimpses of that, but it was still well done.
I think it was a nice touch. I think it was a good touch with that and the combination of you could see some of the astronauts and some of the higher ups in NASA kind of grading on each other. There was never a sense of, there's never like a big blow up in this movie, but obviously there's this thing like when he's testing out the gear of like, they've used this line in the trailer, but when he says like we gotta fail down here so we can't fail up there, and it's you see a good back and forth, and I like that. I like that it wasn't just NASA is like they gave there wasn't a huge point of dramatic tension there, but they gave it a more real world feel than just like glorified like space. You know, it's like it was really like it was a job. You know, like it really was for most of these guys. Like it was of course big, but even like when they were talking to Gosling on the press conference, and Buzz is the more charismatic, like, oh, you know, my wife gave her a break, but he's just like, you know, what would you need more? If I had my choice, be more fuel, you know, like everything, like very, for him, it was his goal to get to the moon, but lots of it was just, there's many things of just them testing out space stuff, and I like that aspect.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's most of my kind of thoughts.
I would give it an 8 out of 10 for me. For me, it's mostly performances are all good. I'd say the only standout one for me was Claire Foy, because like I said, this was my first time, and she right when I saw this, I was like, man, I want to, and I'm now gonna watch Spiderweb. I keep forgetting, but like I'm a fan of those OG movies, and I'm a fan of her now, so I might give it a shot when before I wasn't going to, but I love that director that's doing it, and I love this performance that she gave. So other than her, all performance really good. And Gosling was great. I think it's just he is playing the character that the way it is written, but it's a way that I think he played it the exact way it needed to be. And then the stuff that I would like is that I liked was all the technical aspects. Score is really good. Cinematography was really good. And yeah, my cons were it was a bit slow. I find myself a bit at times. I think it's a long movie for me. I really felt it in that way. Like it's tough because I don't want to say you want to shave some off because you want to show that journey of all their failures to get to the point where they succeed. It's just for me as far as lots of times I've always said if I were to do a different rating score, my rating score is always mostly out of enjoyability and stuff that I could have as cons. And my enjoyability was probably about an 8 level, and as far as also appreciating the technical aspect. So that's what I would give it.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty much the same. I think our only difference is that I didn't really feel that it was too long. I never had a point where I was maybe feeling out of it. I was pretty glued in the whole time. So I don't know what aspect that was different for me and you there, but I don't know. There's something about
you had popcorn and pop.
I had popcorn.
You were going. I almost thought about going to get some popcorn because I wasn't dozing off, but I was having a few moments like I was getting
something to do with my hands.
I was getting a little tired. I was like, I'm gonna get popcorn, but no, I don't. I'm all for the intermission coming back at some point. You know?
Intermission.
Yeah.
I hope they just do it a little more gracefully than they do in India. In India, they just halfway mark, cut it right in the middle of the scene. Characters' dialogue.
They should do it the same way Bad Times did it. You know.
No. In the last scene.
Yeah, check out our Bad Times review.
At first I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, go check out the rest of our reviews. Thank you very much for tuning in. When you hear from us next, it will not be boring.
Bye-bye.